Hi friends, Miss Lara here, back to you with Goosebumps, The Haunted School. This is chapter 11. Are we moving? Ben asked. His eyes rose to the elevator ceiling. Of course not, I replied. We haven't pushed the button yet. I reached out and pushed the button with a big black 3 on it. What's your problem anyway? I demanded. Why are you so nervous? We're not robbing a bank or anything. We're just riding an elevator because we're in a hurry. The elevator is 50 years old, Ben replied. So? I demanded. So we're not moving, Ben said softly. I pushed the button again and listened for the hum that meant we were going up. Silence. Let's get out of here, Ben said. It's not working. I told you we shouldn't try it. I pushed the button again. Nothing. I pushed the button marked 2. We're wasting time, Ben said. If we ran up the stairs, we'd be there already. The dance is starting and the stupid banner is trailing on the floor. I pushed the 3 button again and the 2 button. Nothing. No noise. We didn't move. I pushed the button marked B. We don't want to go to the basement, Ben cried. I heard a little panic start to creep into his voice. Tommy, why did you push B? Just trying to get it to move, I said. My throat suddenly felt a little dry. I had a knot in the pit of my stomach. Why weren't we moving? I pushed all the buttons again. Then I pounded them with my fist. Ben pulled away. Nice try, Ace, he said sarcastically. Let's just get out of here, okay? I don't want to miss the whole dance. Thyla is probably a little steamed by now, I said, shaking my head. I pushed 3 a few more times, but we didn't move. Just open the doors, Ben insisted. Okay, fine, I agreed unhappily. My eyes swept over the control panel. What's wrong? Ben asked impatiently. I can't find the door open button, I stammered. He shoved me out of the way. Here, he said, gazing over the silvery buttons. We both studied the control panel. There's got to be a door open button, Ben muttered. Maybe it's this one with the arrows, I said. I lowered my hand to a button at the bottom of the middle panel. It had 2 arrows that pointed like this. Yes, push it, Ben said. He didn't wait for me to do it. He reached past me and pushed the button hard with his open hand. I stared at the door, waiting for it to slide open. It didn't move. I slapped the button again, and again. Nothing. How are we going to get out of here? Ben cried. Don't panic, I told him. We'll get the doors open. Why should I panic? He demanded shrilly. Because I want to panic first, I declared. I thought my little joke would make him laugh and calm down. After all, he was always making jokes. But he didn't even smile. He didn't take his eyes off the dark elevator doors. I pushed the button one more time. I kept it pressed in with my thumb. The doors didn't open. I pushed the 3 and 2 button, and I pushed the 1 button. Nothing. Silence. The buttons didn't even click. Ben's eyes bulged. He cupped his hands around his mouth. Help us, he screamed. Can anybody hear me? Help us. Silence. Then I spotted the red button at the top of the control panel. Ben, look, I said. I pointed to the red button. An emergency button, he exclaimed happily. Go ahead, Tommy, push it. It's probably an alarm. Someone will hear it and come rescue us. I pushed the red button. I didn't hear an alarm. But the elevator started to hum. I heard the clank of gears. The floor vibrated beneath our feet. Hey, we're moving, Ben cried happily. I let out a cheer. Then I raised my hand to slap him a high five, but the elevator jerked hard, and I fell against the wall. Uh-oh, I murmured, pulling myself up straight. I turned to Ben. We stared at each other in wide-eyed silence, not believing what was happening. The elevator wasn't moving up or down. It was moving sideways. The elevator rumbled and shook. I grabbed the wooden railing on the side. Gears clanked noisily. The floor vibrated beneath my shoes. We stared at each other, realizing what was happening. Neither of us spoke. Ben finally broke the silence. This is impossible, he murmured. His words came out in a choked whisper. Where is it taking us? I asked softly, gripping the rail so hard that my hands hurt. It's impossible, Ben repeated. It can't be happening. Elevators only go up, and the car jolted hard as we came to a very sudden stop. Oh, I let out a cry as my shoulders slammed into the elevator wall. Next time we're taking the stairs, Ben growled. The doors slid open. We peered out in total blackness. Are we in the basement? Ben asked, sticking his head out the door. We didn't go down, I replied. A shiver ran down the back of my neck. We didn't go up or down, so we're still on the first floor. Ben finished my sentence for me. But why is it so dark here? I can't believe this is happening. We stepped out of the elevator. I waited for my eyes to adjust to the darkness, but they couldn't adjust. It was just too dark. There must be a light switch, I said. I ran my hand along the wall. I could feel the outline of tiles, but no light switch. I swept both hands up and down the wall. No light switch. Let's get out of here, Ben urged. We don't want to get trapped here. We can't see a thing. I was still searching for the light. Okay, I agreed. I lowered my hand and started back to the elevator. I heard the doors slide shut. No! I let out a sharp cry. Ben and I banged on the elevator doors. Then I felt along the wall for the button to open the doors, panicked, and my hand trembled. I swept my open palm along the wall on both sides of the closed doors. No button. No elevator button. I turned and leaned my back against the wall. I was suddenly breathing hard. My heart pounded. I can't believe this is happening, Ben muttered. Would you please stop saying that? I demanded. It is happening. We're here. We don't know where, but we're here. But if we can't call the elevator, how do we get out of here? Ben whined. We'll find our way, I told him. I took a deep breath and held it. I decided I had to be the calm one since he was being so whiny and scared. I listened hard. I can't hear any music or voices or anything. We must be far away from the gym. Well, what do? Ben cried. We can't just stand here. My mind whirred. I squinted into the darkness, hoping to make out the shape of a door or window or anything. But the blackness that surrounded us was darker than the sky on a starless night. I pressed my back against the cool tile wall. I know, I said. We'll keep against the wall. And, Ben whispered, and we'll do what? We'll move along the wall, I continued. We'll move along the wall until we come to a door to a room with a light. Then maybe we'll be able to figure out where we are. Maybe, Ben replied. He didn't sound hopeful. Stick close behind me, I instructed him. He bumped up against me. Not that close. I couldn't help it. I can't see, he cried. Moving slowly, very slowly, we started walking. I kept my right hand on the wall, sliding it along the tiles as we walked. We'd only taken a few steps when I heard a sound behind me, a cough. I stopped and turned around. Ben, was that you? Huh? He bumped into me again. Did you cough? I asked softly. No, he replied. I heard another cough, then a loud whisper. Ben, I said, grabbing his shoulder. Guess what? We're not alone. We both gasped as the lights came on, dim and gray at first. I blinked several times and waited for the light to brighten, but it didn't. I stared out. We're in a room, a gray classroom. My eyes moved from the black chalkboard to the charcoal-colored teacher's desk, to the dark gray student desk, the pale gray tile walls, then down the black and gray patterns on the classroom floor. Weird, Ben muttered. My eyes? It's not your eyes, I assured him. The light is so dim in this room it makes everything look gray and black. It's like being in an old black and white movie, Ben declared. Squinting into the dim light, we started edging toward the classroom door. Let's get out of here, I suggested, before the lights go out again. We were halfway across the room when I heard another cough. And then a girl's voice rang out. Hey! Ben and I both stopped. We turned as the girl about our age stepped out from behind a book cabinet. She stared at us. We stared back at her. She was kind of cute with short black hair and bangs across her forehead. She wore an old-fashioned looking V-neck sweater, a long pleated skirt, and black and white saddle shoes. I opened my mouth to say hi, but no sound came out as I noticed her skin. Her skin was as gray as her sweater, and her eyes were gray, and her lips were gray. She was like the room. She was in black and white too. Ben and I exchanged confused glances. Then I turned back to the girl. She clung to the side of the cabinet, eyeing Ben and me suspiciously. Were you hiding back there? I blurted out. She nodded. We heard you coming, but we didn't know who you were. We? I asked. Before she could answer, 4 more kids, 2 boys and 2 girls, jumped out from behind a tall cabinet. All gray, all in shades of gray. Look at them, one of the boys cried. His eyes bulged as he stared at us. I don't believe it, another boy shouted. Before Ben and I could move, they rushed forward. All shouting and crying at once, they stampeded across the room, surrounded us, grabbed us, pulled at our clothes, pulled us, screaming, laughing, shrieking, pulled at my shirt, ripped my sleeve. Ben, I screamed, they're going to tear us apart. Look at this. a girl cried. She held up my shirt sleeve. Two boys tugged at the rest of my shirt. I dropped to the floor, tried to squirm away, but they had us surrounded. A girl pulled off one of my shoes. Ben swung his fist hard, trying to fight them away. His hand smacked the blackboard, and he cried out in pain. "Stop!" I heard a boy shout over the cries of the others. "Stop it! Get away from them!" I kicked out with both my feet. I saw Ben swing his fist again. "Stop it!" the boys screamed. "Get away! Come on, stop!" The kids backed away. The girl dropped my shoe. I grabbed it off the floor. They took several steps back, moving in a line, staring at us. "The color!" a girl exclaimed. "So much color!" "It hurts my eyes," a boy cried. "But it's so beautiful," a girl gushed. It's like a dream." "Do you still dream in color?" a boy asked her. "My dreams are all in black and white." Tugging on my shoe, I climbed shakily on my feet. I struggled to straighten my khakis and tuck in my torn shirt. Ben rubbed the hand he had smacked. His blonde hair was matted with sweat. His face was bright and red. "Tommy," he whispered, "what's going on? This is crazy." I stared at the 5 kids lined up in front of us. "No color," I murmured. All of them were in black and white. Their clothes, their skin, their eyes, their hair, no color at all. Only shades of gray and black. As I struggled to catch my breath, I studied them, and I realized they didn't look like modern kids, like kids from our school. The girls all wore skirts, long skirts down to their ankles, and the boys wore big collared sports shirts tucked into baggy pleated pants. Like in an old movie, I thought. All black and gray. We all stared at one another for a long while. Then the boy who seemed to be their leader spoke up. "We're all sorry," he said. "You see, we didn't mean to hurt you," the girl beside him interrupted. "It's just that we haven't seen color for so long." "I just wanted to touch it," the girl with black bangs across her forehead added, shaking her head sadly. "I wanted to touch color. It's been so long, so long." "Did you come to help us?" the first boy asked softly, his gray eyes locked on mine, pleading eyes. "Help you?" I replied. No, we didn't. You see, that's too bad," the girl with black bangs said, frowning. "Huh? Too bad?" I didn't understand. "Why?" I asked. "Because," replied the girl, "now you can never leave." "Hey, we've already scared them. They think we're a bunch of crazed savages. Don't try to scare them even more, Mary," the boy scolded. "I'm not," she insisted, crossing her arms over the front of her gray sweater. "I just think they should know the truth." "I think..." "The truth?" I interrupted. "What's going on here? This is a joke, right?" "Yeah, go ahead. Wipe off the gray powder from your face and tell us it's a joke," Ben chimed in. The girl named Mary bit her bottom lip. I saw a tear form in her left eye. It brimmed over and ran down her gray cheek. "It's no joke," she choked out. "Give us a break," Ben groaned. "Just make the lights brighter and..." "That won't help," the boy cried angrily. Mary turned to him. She wiped the tear from her cheek. "I really thought they came to help us," she said in a quivering voice. "I really thought that finally..." Her voice trailed off. Another girl put her arm around Mary. I shut my eyes for a moment. Squinting into the gray was giving me a headache. Will someone tell us what's going on?" I heard Ben demand. I opened my eyes to see all 5 gray kids moving across the room toward us. The leader was a little taller than me. He had wavy black hair and big black eyes that crinkled at the sides. I saw a small gray scar above one eyebrow. He had broad shoulders beneath his gray t-shirt. He was very athletic looking. The girl beside him was tall and very thin. She had a gray hair that fell straight down her back, and she had gray eyes. "I'm Seth," the boy said. "This is Mary, and this is Eloise," he pointed. "Eddie and Mona." Ben and I introduced ourselves. "We didn't mean to frighten you," Mary repeated, "but can we touch your colors? We haven't seen color for so long. Her voice cracked. She turned away. Ben and I have to get back to the dance," I told them, eyeing the door. "You see, we're on the decorations committee and a banner tour, and..." "You can't get back," Seth said. His dark eyes narrowed on mine. "Mary told you the truth. You can't get back." "That's stupid," Ben replied, shaking his head. "We're in the old building, right? We'll follow the hall till it leads to the new building. The gym is right downstairs." Eloise coughed. I realized she was the one I heard when the lights were still out. She wiped her nose with a gray tissue. She appeared to have a cold. "You're not in the old building," she said hoarsely. "Then where are we?" Ben demanded. "The basement?" The gray kids shook their heads. It's a little hard to explain, Seth said. We'll find our way back, I told them, starting for the door. I mean, the school isn't that big. We won't be lost for long. You're not really in the school, Eloise said, wiping her nose. Excuse me, Ben cried. This looks a lot like a classroom to me. See, desks, chairs, chalkboard. Let's go, I said. I gave him a little push toward the door. Sit down, Seth ordered sharply. Ben and I were nearly to the classroom door. I said, sit down, Seth repeated. You better listen to him, the girl named Mona warned. Seth motioned impatiently to 2 desks. Sit. I swallowed hard. I felt a chill of fear over my entire body. I didn't understand what was going on here, and I didn't really want to understand. I just wanted to get away from this gray room and these black and white kids. They moved across the room toward us. Their expressions were tense. Seth held his arms stiffly at his sides, as if ready for a fight. Sit down, guys, he insisted. Sorry, some other time, Ben replied. He and I both had the same idea in our heads. We both turned and ran at the same time. We made a mad dash for the classroom door. I got there first. I grabbed the door handle, turned it, and pulled. Come on, Ben cried frantically. It won't open, I shrieked. The door was locked. That is the end of chapter 15, so that is where I'm going to stop for today. All right, guys, I probably won't do more videos for a few days, and then we will finish the rest. We're about halfway through.